Job, Sam. Alright, so if you're now returning to these, this is what I call the intermissions, where I go to the terminal and read every email and every piece of data that we unlocked since we last played. Small problem. The film director. You really are unique, aren't you? Sam Bridges. Maybe it's just my imagination, but ever since I signed a contract, I swear I'd seen you at least a half dozen times out here. Was it your hologram, perhaps? Surely couldn't have been every time, now that you come seeing me bearing gifts. Nevertheless, it's hard to believe that there's only one of you running around, though it's equally hard to believe that so many others could resemble you so much. Goodness, could it have been a ghost, or someone masquerading as you, perhaps? Oh dear, what have I got myself into? Well, you leave me no choice. Next time you come through, bring that Cupid and make me an official member of the UCA. You're the only one doing that for the people, correct? You should prove yourself beyond a shadow of a doubt that it's really you. It's the completionist. Just because some guy's got like a square face shape and a big beard don't mean shit. Peter Engler, a desperate plea for a second pizza pie. Dear Mr. Sandbridges, it is I, Peter Engler, the world's foremost connoisseur of delicious pizzas you so faithfully deliver. Through my impudence, though my impudence would shame the very devil himself, I regret I must entreat you to bring us another of these delectable dishes. This time from South Knot City. Aye! I'm expecting company. A sweet couple of whom I am intensely fond. They insisted on being allowed to take the air, but with the wilderness being so very dangerous, I refuse to entertain the thought. Alas, while we will be remaining indoors, I am incapable of preparing anything but the most base and disagreeable cuisine. So I must part myself at your mercy yet again, lest the poor dear starve. Well, I have already, I am very much aware, gone far beyond the bounds of common decency in making this request. I must compound my sins with a stipulation. The pizza in question must be topped with the bacon of the incomparable Iberico pig. Wait, you know what? We can actually start from here. You're the great deliverer, all right. Hey, Sam. You're quite something, ain't ya? Delivering cargo out there all by yourself, stitching America back together. I mean, I'm not surprised you're up to it. You're a repatriate, after all, and a member of Bridges, too. Still, you're gonna have to go above and beyond. There's just something about you, I guess. Maybe it's something to do with the connection between you and the President Anomaly. Well, I guess I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, it's gonna save the world. I just know it. Where roads lead. Thanks for stopping by again, Sam. When I was performing maintenance on the buildings the other day, I saw some footprints you left behind. Took a moment to retrace them, like I was literally walking in your footsteps. Felt pretty cool, ain't gonna lie. Unfortunately, I got a little carried away and found myself in mule territory. Realized it just before they caught me, but man, you should have seen me turn tail and run like the wind. I do not want to meet those guys in the field, no sir. Even so, it was fun walking where you'd been before. Felt like I was connected to you and your legacy in those moments. Just make sure you make it back in one piece like I did. Meaning of chirality from Benjamin Hancock. Dear Sam. Sorry I had to go through the trouble of chasing down that part for us. Look, believe me, you've done us a great service. Thanks to you, our chiral printer's finally up and running. Didn't think it'd ever happen if I'm honest, but it did. And now we don't have to rely on porters as much as before. We can make a lot of what we require with our printer. And if we need intel from the outside world, it's right at our fingertips. On behalf of myself and everyone else here at the Distro Center, thanks. Now, this could have been possible without you. Funny story, actually. The other day, I was using the network to read up on the word chiral and where it comes from. Turns out it's Greek, means hand. But you didn't know that, did you? Text went on about how your right hand is a mirror image of your left, but only if you put your palms together. And if you point them away and lay one on top of the other, well, that's chirality. That's how I understand it, anyhow. What's it got to do with the network? I ain't really sure. Something about routing communications through the beach, which is basically another world like ours, but not really. So when you force elements in the two into contact, that triggers a void out. Anyway, all I know is that I hope you keep doing what you do to bring us together. You best leave the dead out of it, you hear? Tell Amelie we're true believers from the wind farm. Hey Sam, how's it going? Still heading west? We're rooting for you. We're part of a second group, so we never got to speak with Amelie face to face. Caught the occasional holo message, but that was about it. Still, every little bit helped keep us going. She's just like her mother. Tough, clever, easy on the eye too. Well, lines there I didn't notice. But what really resonated with us was that fire she carries, that conviction. Same as Bridget. Any of us would have laid down our lives in service of her vision. Suppose this is all a long-winded way of saying you ought to move on and meet her like we never got to. When you do, tell her we're all still believers in her cause, and in her, and her mother. You'll do that, won't you? Alright, the Ludens fan. Are you a Ludens? Oh fuck, I forgot that's just Jeff Keighley! That's actually a Jeff Keighley cameo, fuck! It gets funny every time. I had this crazy idea, Sam. What if you're the perfect example of Homo Ludens? Think about it. You're with bridges, but you're not beholden to them. You're the only one who can expand the network, so they need you as much as you need them, if not more. Taken all together, you're pretty much free to do whatever you want, including coming out here to visit me on a whim. Maybe what you do isn't play, in the strictest sense of the word. Doesn't help you blow off steam, I expect, but you go about your business as you like, and your actions have a different effect on our culture and our world. I'd say that's the sort of life any aspiring Homo Ludens would envy, don't ya? One step closer to understanding the beach. Hey Sam, and that's Junji Ito, I believe. I just submitted my latest progress report. I know the Evo Devo unit utilizes the chiral network to access the beach, but I don't understand that. I don't understand how. Not sure anyone does. Whoever came up with the theory behind it is a bona fide genius. We can't reclaim the part we lost, or the past we lost, but piecing together from what's left is the next best thing. We took a truly great mind to figure that out. Or must have taken a truly... Wait, fuck it. Yeah, it does. Pictures after all. What's a picture but a fragment? A two-dimensional snapshot of space and time. Not to mention the thoughts and feelings of whoever took it. A physical memory to match the ones in our heads. They say we've got our own beach, and it's these beaches that we route the network through. Maybe a part of it? Maybe that's a part of it. Maybe there's more to us in our memories and our beaches than we realize. But I'm just a layman when it comes to this stuff. If anything, you got a better chance of understanding it. You're the one with dooms, after all. Craftsman, you beat the mules without killing anyone? Here, Sam. Our local mule chapter hasn't been causing enough trouble, any trouble, as of late. I guess that must be down to the lesson you taught them. Look, I know these guys are just victims, really, but their obsessive compulsions or whatever, but the fact is that they make life difficult. Someone had to confront them, and that's just what you did. Hats off to you, Sam. How about my tool, by the way? Did it come in handy? Guess it must have done if you'd managed to get out of there without killing anyone. Victor Frank. Hey, Sam. I was thinking I ought to report back to you on how we're doing over there. First things first, the Chiron network blew my mind. So much better than what I was expecting. The latest news from Capital Knot, way station dispatches, and distro center updates in real time without any lag whatsoever. What's more, we can't rely on generator power to keep us online. That alone's a real game changer. We can send and receive all kinds of supplies too, even without the help of porters like you. As long as we got the raw materials, the chiral printer can provide us with most anything we need. You should see the skyline here. Grains all over the place. The city's turned a corner, if you ask me. To be honest, it almost brings a tear to my eye to see how far we've come. Anyway, I'll stop rambling. The important thing is that it's all going much better than expected. Catch you later, Sam. The engineer, the great deliverer, delivers a mule beatdown. Hey, Sam. Finally understand why they call you the great deliverer. After all, you're the one who dealt with the mules who were blocking the route between my shelter and Lake Knot, right? I mean, you must have been. No one else could have managed that, especially all by themselves. I feel a bit pathetic, just cheering you on from the sidelines, but I guess that's all I can do. Good luck, Sam. All new hermetic grenades. How goes the struggle, Sam? Use any of those grenades I gave you yet? I've been looking into mass producing them, actually. Took a gander under the hood. Look. So to speak. Took a gander under the hood, so to speak, and saw that they're fitted with a regulator that limits the amount of blood they drain from your body when you're not feeling their best. Good old mama, always looking out. That said, where you're headed, the BTs are only going to get tougher and meaner. So I took the liberty of making a few modifications. That way they're more powerful now, but their LC is a lot more of your blood, which will increase the risk of anemia. Mama might object, but let's say I have a different idea about how to help people look out for themselves. Anyway, they're just prototypes, so you can't print yourself replacements yet. But they're yours for the using, so go ahead and give them a try. Wait. Wait. Wait, what? No, I've already read a lot of these. Wait a minute. Yeah. Yelder, you could learn from Fragile Express. I remember the Stranding like it was yesterday. Creators all over, intercity comms cutting out, distribution networks shot to hell. Wasn't no local boys to help a feller out no more, let alone feds. Nope. It was every man for himself. Every man who didn't work for no private courier outfit, that is. Them ones took it upon themselves to keep delivering the goods folks need to survive, in spite of the cost. And without the hope or expectation of reward. What good's money? Wait, that ain't worth the paper it's printed on after all. Nope. Them private operators had already kept a thank you here and there and fuck all else. But supplies kept on coming. Sure, a few mules went on us. Or sure, a few went mule on us, but that didn't seem to faze the rest none. Country fell apart, then the cities. Till all that was left holding the world together was them. They knew it too. We'd all be screwed without them. But they didn't hold it over us. They just kept things moving best they could. Rest independence out here and the huddled masses in the cities. Fragile Express and all them others. We owe 'em a hell of a lot. Bridges though, you know, still got a lot to prove. Alex Weatherstone, weather station update. Wait, no. Wait, yeah. Yeah, I'm not even technically part of the core staff. I'm medical. I was posted here to keep an eye on our skeleton crew, make sure their heads stayed straight, and somewhere along the line got roped into processing deliveries too. Anyway, before we became part of the chiral network, this place was a weather station in name alone. We were collecting meteorological data, but only over a pathetically small area, and we weren't able to share it with anyone. Prior to the Stranding, they had countless weather satellites circling the whole planet, watching every move the clouds made, measuring every twist and turn of the wind. With that much data, it was easy to create forecasts, but things are different for us. We don't have a top-down view of the whole picture. But the Cupid and the network that provided us with the next best thing. Now that we collate data from all over, we can generate more comprehensive models, which gives us a much better chance of accurately tracking fluctuations in chiral density. And not only that, we can send weather reports to every city, prepper shelter, and bridges facility in the network. Now we really are doing something useful. We big time, Sam. Did it, Sam, you beat the mules. It's really quiet around the distro center these days. Guess you must have put those mules in their place. How the hell did you manage that? How the hell did you manage to walk across the entire continent and never have to kill anyone? I mean, that was one thing you couldn't do, right? Kill someone. Just another crater to deal with. Anyway, I don't know how you did it, but I'm grateful. Our bots are way more useful than they used to be, and it's all down to you. The bots are here, but is that for the best? Sam, that bot you brought us? Real piece of work. Takes everything into account. Cargo type, terrain, calculates the quickest route every time. And if it does happen to run into a BT, there's no void out to worry about. If we can teach it how mules operate, it might be able to anticipate their movements and avoid them too, which means all the risks in using human porters. The dangers you and yours face every day, well, could be a thing of the past. Might not be a need to put your life on the line any longer. Start playing for the easy life, huh? But is it for the best, I wonder? Leaving everything to the bots? Isn't that what led to drone syndrome and all that? Better to keep people involved in some respect, maybe. Same with cars back in the day. Everyone was all about self-driving vehicles, but if you ask me, human hand ought to always be on the wheel, am I right? Bring my Timefall Porter. Thanks for all the delivery bots, Sam. Heard you were heading to the Timefall farm down the way. Don't know if you heard, but rumor has it they've been brewing beer. Maybe it needs some Timefall to speed up the process. I'd like to have a taste of it if it's true. And if they join the chiral network, I'd be able to place an order with them, wouldn't I? Of course you can't print beer, so you'll always have to rely on you. So I'll always have to rely on you again to get it here. Pay the bots won't be able to enjoy it with me, but hey, guess that's a privilege only humans can enjoy, am I right? Anyway, I'm counting on you. Thomas Sutherland. Delivery time, Sam. People get tired of waiting. What kind of porter grades are you getting these days, Sam? Can't be easy to stand out in all these categories. Cargo condition, delivery volume, bridge link, all that stuff. Couldn't manage it myself. Throw my hands up in frustration. I've got one piece of advice to you, though. Focus on delivery time. That's the most important thing when it comes to making deliveries, after all. How to improve it, though? That's the question. You probably know this already, but in case you don't, there's one simple way you can improve your speed. Take the shortest routes. Unless that is, the area's infrastructure means that a longer, less direct route will get you there faster. Not so simple after all, huh? Probably got a feel for picking efficient routes already, though. Most porters with your experience oughta. By the way, you're already feeling confident about how quickly you can make deliveries? Try your hand at setting a premium delivery record. Might even enjoy it. Oh, and it's not just the clients who will be happy if you improve your delivery time. Your body will be too. As it grows stronger, you'll have more stamina, be able to hold your breath for longer, all sorts of good stuff. Keep at it, Sam. You're gonna be a top-ranked porter out there in no time. And just know it. Alright. Timefall farmer. Slaves to wheat? Dear Sam. Seems we grow more wheat than we can harvest. More than a bot could handle, even. Say, have you been making use of that new Ultra Deck feature we shared with you? Friend of ours developed it especially so we could analyze the soil and choose the best spots for growing wheat. Ours got lost in a terrorist attack on Middle Knot City, though. Still, we can definitely vouch for how useful it was. Be sure to give it a try if you haven't already. Anywho, we've been doing some light reading to try and figure out what to do with our bumper crop. Turns out the history of wheat's quite interesting. Did you know it was originally a strain of grass native to the Middle East? That's right. Wasn't until our ancestors began to cultivate it that it really came into its own. Turned hunters into farmers overnight, changed the evolution of mankind. Homo sapiens settled down in one place and stockpiled food rather than chasing all over creation. And with stability came society, culture, religion. All courtesy of little old wheat. But it wasn't just a one-way street. Oh, no. Wheat made out like a bandit. That obscure Middle Eastern grass wound up spreading on all four corners of the globe. You could even say it was wheat that used us and not the other way around. In fact, some scholars say it was just that we became slaves to wheat. What do you think about that, huh? Are we about to become slaves all over again? Sure hope not. The Elder. Rebuild the roads, rebuild America. I see them delivery bots are on the prowl again. Guess that means the roads are getting better out there. Used to be highways and byways running out all over back in the day. There was one, the Mother Road, some called it. That was the one folks used to follow all the way west, chasing their dreams. Rebuild the roads, you rebuild the dream. Is that it? Old American classic. The belief that success and prosperity are within everyone's reach. Well, I may not be much use for your UCA and your plan to rebuild the country. But if you can finally make that one work, I'll raise a glass to you, that's for sure. The Timefall Farmer. Best damn brew you'll ever drink. Dear Sam. Another day on the long road, I'll wager. Well, you know what soothes the mind, body, and soul after a hard day's work? A delicious draught of Timefall Porter. Finally got up and brewing a batch of beer. Trying a shark, what color shark should you make it? Purple. You're familiar with porter. It's an English ale that's been made since the 1700s. Cool? Mm-hmm. It was popular with the couriers who used to deliver loads up and down the Thames, hence the name. And the other part, well, I don't think I have to explain that. It's crafted with the finest, fastest growing wheat under the timefall. So, Mr. Legendary Porter, why not put your feet up and enjoy a tall glass of your namesake? And don't think it was the end of it. We're baking bread and cooking pizzas before you know it. Just you wait. Thomas Sutherland. Kick back with some Timefall Porter. Sam, thanks as always. Send you some Timefall Porter, the world's fastest brewed beer for Bridges' fastest runner. Hope it provides a welcome respite on a hard day. Should be waiting for you in your room. Enjoy. The film director. Used to pack in theaters. I tried toying with that tablet you brought me. Such a flimsy, cheap thing, yet it was capable of displaying all manner of video and imagery, courtesy of my contract with Bridges. I suppose it could be useful in some respects, but the experience is ultimately lacking. I long for the halcyon days when people would pack themselves into movie theaters, when we'd laugh together, cry together, jump in fright together, when cinema was a communal experience. But then came the tyranny of the tablets, which reshaped how media was shot, all dramatic close-ups and cliffhangers designed to draw you into the next installment. Bah! It was a far cry from the golden age of film. What, from when the silver screen reigned supreme. Tell ya, I was born a century too late. The junk dealer. Junk disposal. Sam Bridges. Got a job for you if you're interested. A pile of junk has accumulated near my shelter and it needs to be disposed of. There's a problem though. However, some of the aforementioned waste products may be contaminated by chiralium, which means that the only safe place to dispose of them is Crater Lake in the south. Should be easy enough for a Bridges man such as yourself, but it's up to you whether or not the job's for you. It'd certainly help me view you and your kind more favorably if you were to agree to help me, however. Victor Frank. Start using utility pouches, Sam. Sam, my man. Got a lot of love for you here in Port Knot City. Everyone's talking about how you hooked up on the network and took out the BT. Makes me feel a little better about how Igor went out, knowing that he was in the company of a real-life hero like yourself. By the way, been wondering, you been using the utility pouches? They can make it real easy to carry an extra blood bag or two. And you ought to know better than everyone how much BTs hate that stuff. In fact, if you got a bag of red on you, strongly recommend popping it in a pouch. Give it a try at least, I mean, what do you have to lose? Folks use all kinds of pouches, you know. Haven't seen much variety for a while now. But back in the day, porters would rock customized backpacks decked with a dozen or even more specialized pouches. Who knows? If you're lucky, you might even find someone to design them just for you. Could be the beginning of a virtuous circle, if you ask me. The more you succeed in bringing our people together, the more likely you'll turn up some of the old pouch designs, which in turn ought to help you work it. Shit, man. Which in turn ought to help you in your work to get others on board. Good luck. Thomas Sutherland, take a dip in the hot springs. Feeling tired, Sam? Wouldn't blame you after all. You're not a machine. You need breaks and whatnot. Lucky for you, I know the perfect place. Some hot springs, a hop, skip, and a jump northeast to where the junk dealers hold up. The Crater Digestive Baths, I believe they're called. Good for getting the bowels moving in case you're backed up, but the water's also pretty good for general aches and pains. Miraculous healing properties, apparently. It does wonders for stress BB, even. Not one that's suffering from autotoxemia, though, obviously. Anyway, you should give it a try sometime. Order. Delivery for a prepper. Got a special delivery for you. There's a prepper out there who's got special talent. Calls herself a cosplayer. And she can apparently dress herself to look like damn near anyone and everything. There's no one better when it comes to designing and making clothes and accessories, but she needs a new sewing kit to finish her current project. Did you find one and deliver it to her? Pretty sure she'd have something interesting and offer to return. Thanks. And that's one of those things where it's a side mission. I'm gonna do it on air. The chiral artist. We got married. How are you holding up, Sam? You must have walked more than 1,000 miles by now. Try not to let it get to you. I'm sure it must be lonely work, and... Well, anyway, I wanted to get in touch and tell you that, well, we got married. I do. I know. Who gets married in this day and age, right? But there's a chiral network, we got in touch with a priest, and we said our vows, and that's it. Silly, maybe, but it seems to have brought smiles to a few faces, so thanks for making it possible. We owe you more than we could say. The chiral artist's mother. Please look out for them. Dear Sam, wonderful news. My daughter's getting married. Although you've probably been wondering, we're not related at all. Never been married, let alone had any kids. Took her in at 5 or so years back after her parents died. She could barely speak a word of English. Her parents had been Japanese, but we managed our own way. I was wondering, because, like, you're really white, and she's not. When Farath was a buck that only plays Rickrolls and it came with a hammer, I don't remember that. It's funny, until the moment we met. Oi! I thought I was destined to live out my life all alone. But as soon as I laid eyes on her, that changed. I knew in my heart that I had to protect her, make sure no one could hurt her. Though I ended up doing that myself by being too overprotective in the end. Tried to make up for it. My daughter's leaving a nest at last, but I couldn't be happy for her. All I can do now is pray and hope for the best, and I'd be awful grateful if you could look in on her and her husband from time to time. Just make sure they're doing okay. George Patton, strange lady at the incinerator. Gonna sound crazy, but you need to believe me, Sam. I was at the incinerator. They'd found a body near the way station that needed to be burned. Since we can't do it, we don't exactly have a team of corpse disposal guys on call, I was given the job. I've been outside more than the other guys lately, so it makes sense. Wasn't like I could say no. Someone had to do it. Doesn't mean I wasn't scared shitless, though. I don't got dooms or anything, but you don't need a special power to know that BT's caught your scent. I could tell it weren't far behind. I had to get the job done and come home, but one of those fuckers just popped out of nowhere and nearly gave a heart attack. Oh, it is. Yeah, absolutely. Somehow I made it back to the incinerator without getting grabbed. That's when things got really weird. Saw this glowing thing. Light, I guess? I wanted to take a closer look, but I wasn't about to take any chances. Got the hell out of there. Can't stop thinking about it now, though. You should check it out if you have the chance. Anyways, your question is, if they did that now, what song would it be? Baby Shark. Baby Shark. Knowing marketers, Baby Shark. Your partner, J. Recovery request, V. Retrieve my chip from the mules. Hey there, Sam the Man, it's J. Clear recall. Memory a bit recognized? I gotta say, these delivery jobs of yours, they're pretty advanced. Took me a minute or two after hijacking them to locate my second chip. The chip, you'll know when you see it. You'll see a big ol' V. Big ol' V like last time. Like home. Problem is the mules got to it first, stuck it in a post box for safekeeping, but you, I know you, Sam the Man. But a guy like you loves a challenge, am I right? Right? Take the order, run with it. I'll update your map with the latest info. Rest is up to you, though. Finding chips is one thing. It takes a living, breathing person to get to them. I don't think. I am not. I do not qualify at the moment. When you're up for it, you'll find the gig order waiting for you at Lake Knot City. Come roar around the racetrack of your dreams, from Thomas Sutherland. Hey Sam, how are deliveries going? Listen, I got something important to tell you. You want to hear this? Promise. Ever since I came to the distro center, I've been hearing rumors about a dream racetrack. Sounds like there were plans to build one near the Timefall Farmer's place back in the day. You know where that is, right? Anyway, seemed to be the founder of Fragile Express who had the idea in the first place. Yup. Turns out Fragile's old man was crazy for motor racing. Who knew? Anyway, the idea that the racetrack could attract crowds from Lake Knot, South Knot, all over. Some of the local preppers would have come along too, no doubt. Would have been quite a sight. Man, just thinking about it gives me goosebumps, know what I mean? Seems like they made good progress at first, too. Everyone worked together. They managed to get to the racetrack terminal set in double quick time. Of course, when the goddamn terrorists had to get involved and ruin everything, the racetrack of everyone's dreams became a reality. Twist of the side run quest is so blatant if you've played the game. Oh, yeah. But maybe that's about to change. Because we managed to get our hands on the original design data. And what's more, it seems like it's still good to go. That's right, just donate the necessary materials like you would any other structure and your racetrack dreams will come true. Man, I wish I could be the first to burn that baby up, but they need me here, so that's that. Still, if there's one guy I'd be happy to see take the track in my place, it's you, the great deliverer himself. Oh, and you won't have to trundle around the racetrack in one of your trucks neither. Nope. Sounds like a sleek little number known as the Roadster will be able for fabrication if the results are good enough. But I'm getting ahead of myself. First thing you need to do is find the racetrack terminal near the Timefall Farmer's place and donate the necessary materials. Good luck, Sam. I'm looking forward to seeing you race into the sunset and into a bright new future. Junk dealer, thanks for delivering the prototype. Sam, heard you delivered the samples we provided. Thanks for that. We really appreciate it. I know it was probably weird for you, me and her being separated and all. And I'm not gonna pretend I wasn't a stupid asshole about, well, everything. Anyway, I just wanted to say that we're grateful. Just hope that stuff comes in handy one day. By the way, we've got a few more designs we're working on, so if you like the look of that kit, drop by our shelter for a gander. Hopefully the things we're working on will prove useful. If that's you, then to someone. See you around, Sam. Whoop. Partner, Jay. Mr. Clear, and thanks to you. You're a good mano, Sam. The data on this chip, eye-opening. Like I figured it would be. I know our words were never meant to mix. Record recall impaired, probably an accident. An accident back in mine was the trigger and the chiralium did the rest. But back in mine, home sweet home. Can't say we've got anything as crazy as chiralium back home, but from what I've seen of yours, our tech is a step ahead and you've earned another day's Sportino. We've upgraded your reverse strike with the chip data. Scan it. Think you'll dig it. The improved version's got a better defense and can jump further. I remember I call it the Yaiba Kusanagi. I also tricked out your compass. The sensor pulse security systems that mules and terrorists use are shit. Dog shit. But now you can use compass mode to shorten them out for a minute. When in range, just focus on the poles. Careful though. Shorting sensor poles using your compass burns more battery than the other feature I added. And Middle Knot almost got nuked. Oh wait, no, got nuked. About a year back. Civilian, staff, and everything. Gone in the blink of an eye. They said it was a terrorist attack. Demons doing their thing. Assholes. Fragile got caught up in the mess somehow, though. Wasn't privy on the details. Long story short, they started screening deliveries a whole lot more thoroughly. Not that it made a difference. It was one tragedy after another. We lost half of South Knot City not long after. Half's better than all, but a whole lot of people still died, and, well, shook the rest up pretty bad. They started to wonder if joining the UCA wasn't the worst choice they ever made. The more people said that out loud, the more paranoid they got. Festered and spread, that thinking, beyond the city even. Not that takes much for your average prepper to buy in. You might think becoming a part of the chiral network would help calm things down a bit, but we still don't have a handle on the terrorists. They could all fall apart at any moment, but if it does, we can't let it beat us. We can't let it beat us. Even if everything we've built breaks down, gotta do what we can to patch it up. That's all there is to it. The awful A24 Civil War movie that tries to convince me California and Texas would ever ally together in a succession move. Huh. Yeah, that sounds like shit. Alright, memory chips. We got a couple. A lot of these are just No Man's Journal Part 2. Soap Bubble. Yeah, we've read pretty much all these. Interviews. Situation after the first Death Stranding incident from Heartman 3 years ago at Bridges HQ. There was a series of huge explosions. Well, not so much a series. They were simultaneous, worldwide. The global comms infrastructure was shot to hell, but we salvaged what we could and tried to make sense of what had happened. Didn't seem like much at the time, but it was a hell of a lot better than what we have now. Anyway, the government figured out the whole thing was a terrorist attack at first. They've been dealing with a lot of those back then, but it didn't take long to see that this was something else. The craters left by the blast were bizarre. No rubble, no dust, even, which led the scientists to rule out meteor strikes. There was trace neutron radiation, alpha rays, but we knew it wasn't nukes either. Some of the particles we detected we'd never seen before. Chiralium. Although we didn't know it at the time. Ooh. The more we studied them, the more our scientists came to the same conclusion. These were the results of annihilation events. It was right after the time the chiral cloud started to form. After that, all communication with the outside world went down for good. Aight. No blue in the inverted rainbow from Deadman about a year ago at Bridges HQ. All the southern states are just Florida Alliance, which is the funniest part. That sounds awful. We humans are complex, multicellular organisms. 60 trillion cells each inside every one of us, they say. How many of these cells need to die to consider a person dead? Are there any cells in particular which determine whether a person's alive or dead? These questions are academic, of course. The exact point of death can't be calculated using cell counts. On the other hand, no one can deny the existence of degenerative diseases that gradually destroy more and more cells, leaving the victim effectively half dead. What about me? Most of my organs have been harvested from other people. They still work, of course, but could the original owner have been said to be alive? I really don't know. Incidentally, have you ever heard of a fun little experiment where they once did roundworms called C. elegans? These creatures are notable for glowing bright blue when exposed to UV light, but only when they die. It seems to be a reaction from the anthranilic acid within the organism, and it's known as death fluorescence. Yep, that's right. Blue is very much the color of death, it seems. Can it really therefore be a coincidence that there's no blue in an inverted rainbow? Timefall strengthens an area's connection to the beach. This is something we do with chiral particles becoming excited, I believe. In spaces connected to the beach, electromagnetic waves with a blue wavelength can travel easily throughout the seam, leaking out onto the beach. Some people know what's that where the blue from the inverted rainbow goes. Who knows? The fact that blue is a strong connection to death, though, that much seems inarguable. Higgs particles. From Heartman about a year ago at around near Mountain Knot City. Higgs Monaghan. Why, yes, I know the name. The former leader of a private courier organization, as I recall, which serviced a large region in the West. It was instrumental in providing continued support to the people living there. But as we were so far apart, Bridges struggled to maintain any measure of influence over their operations. It probably didn't help that the separatist movement has always enjoyed a strong support in that territory. In the wake of growing violence by the demons, we were shocked to learn that Higgs himself is at their head. What to make of this strange development? Why on earth would a man who once commanded a group devoted to American Reconstructionism suddenly pledge himself to the cause of American destruction? His name only compounds the insult. Have you heard of the Higgs particle, also known as the God particle? It's associated with the Higgs field, which gives all other particles their mass. Without it, atoms would fly apart, and matter would not exist as we know it. In other words, its very presence prevents mindless destruction. Cosmic irony indeed. From Heartman 2 years ago in his lab, chiral clouds and timefall. Alright. Why do chiral clouds form? Why does timefall occur? And why does it herald the manifestation of BTs? These are questions we all struggle to answer, and we now know BTs are beings formed by something akin to antimatter. Their first appearance conceived the Death Stranding. Prior to that point, it is believed that there was very little in the way of antimatter present in our world at all. But we've since learned that this was far from the case, for even before the Stranding, antimatter was all around us. I discovered a scientific paper on the subject titled On Antimatter and Clouds. According to the paper, the gamma radiation generated by lightning strikes can trigger the formations of positrons, and indeed, particles of antimatter can be detected inside regular rain clouds. The mechanism by which they are framed is not fully understood, but the mere existence of this phenomena is enough to suggest something intriguing. Chiral clouds contain chiralium, yes? Well, what would happen if gamma radiation were to act upon the same way as it does in regular clouds? Could chiralium, excited by gamma radiation, exacerbate minute distortions in space-time, somehow loosening the seams that connect us at our beaches? And if so, when the excited chiralium mixes with timefall and descends on the ground below, could the entire region beneath the clouds become so much more strongly connected with the beach as a result? This could very well explain why BTs appear in areas prone to timefall. Furthermore, if the antimatter we previously thought did not exist in any measurable quantity on Earth where, in fact, present in such commonplace phenomena as the very clouds above us, would this not lead credence to the theory that BTs, beaches, the world of the dead, all these things may have existed long before the Death Stranding? Too much of a theoretical leap? Perhaps. I do not deny our world changed. Drastically and irrevocably. Nevertheless, could it not be that the Death Stranding was merely the clap of thunder that brought us the great change to our attention, not the change itself? I actually do need to get water, yeah. Give me 2 seconds. I actually need to get a bottle of water right quick. I will be right back. Not dead ass chat, like, right now, someone's gotta remind me more often to drink more water in the winter, because, like, right now, I feel like that motherfucker from SpongeBob, who, like, right now, I feel like I should be saying, what are you selling? Chocolate? Anyways. Yeah, let me get a drink of that water. Giant BTs from Heartman in his lab 2 years ago at Heartman's lab. Following the assessment is entirely based on eyewitness testimony. Be advised that none of these claims have been independently verified. There are several types of BTs, which means they seek to interact with the living, and the means by which they interact with living also varies. Some BTs actively seek out human beings, while others attempt to draw us towards them. Still others are capable of consuming their prey, causing a void out in the process. It's not only their roles and behavior that set them apart, however. Their physiology is also different. Moreover, we have anecdotal evidence suggesting the existence of some truly enormous BTs. Curiously, however, these ones do not appear to have umbilical cords. Giant BTs are comprised of the consolidated ka of multiple deceased individuals. As a result, the connection between each individual and their beach is lost. Give me a second. Which is why the resulting BT does not manifest an umbilical cord. Well, that's the theory at any rate. Unfortunately, I doubt we'll be able to learn more about these entities until the chiral network is online, a day that can't come soon enough. King Midas and the chiral crystals. Heartman, 2.5 years ago in his lab. Rumors have been circulating regarding a man who calls himself King Midas. Unlike his namesake from Greek mythology, however, this gentleman does not turn all that he touches to gold. Instead, he claims to wield the power to create chiral crystals at will. The story suggests that he gained the power as a result of experiments involving organisms who possessed a similar ability. I am, of course, aware of the existence of microbes that could melt and condense gold, in effect, extracting it from ore deposits. This is the first time I've heard any organism that can do something similar with chiralium. These organisms are apparently akin to cryptobiotes, as well as the coral that is found in the seam. If they exist outside of time, if this man truly managed to harvest such organisms, it is an extraordinary achievement which could lead to untold possibilities, veritable bioalchemy even. Much like his mythical counterpart, however, King Midas is said to have paid a heavy price for his power. Indeed, his body is turned into a mass of particles, a side effect of crystallizing all the chiralium in which he came into contact. It is said that the only evidence of his existence are now 2 golden handprints he left behind. Now, I must temper this rather dramatic story by stressing that no microbes capable of previously described ability have been detected. As such, I suspect that the king is nothing more than an urban legend, the kind of story spun by dreamers in a world where chiral crystals are rare and precious and can only be collected from perilous, time-fall-soaked places. Perhaps you could even consider it a morality tale, the moral being, of course, that greed is never good, whether one lusts for gold or for chiral crystals. It is, however, a remarkable coincidence that not long after I first heard talk of this modern-day King Midas, I also started to hear rumors concerning a man wearing a golden death mask. Might the two be related? Who knows? Drones in the Singularity. From Mama several months ago, and we don't know where. Yep, the bot's good to go. We're putting it through some field tests within the network service area. Should have the results before long. Delivery efficiency within a given region is expected to improve following a successful Cupid connection as well. No, that won't be a problem. The bot's just a cargo carrier. Human inputs required to accept orders in set coordinates. Drone syndrome shouldn't be a factor in the singularity? Not a chance. Well, think about it. AI doesn't die. Might get upgraded or replaced, but that's not at all comparable to death, so there's no reason to fear it, you see? The concept is completely foreign, incomprehensible. Death comes to all living things, but only humans have the capacity to understand the implications. Sorry. To imagine what it means to no longer exist. That one limitation AI won't ever overcome. That's the reason it won't ever surpass human intelligence. Fragile's father and the Fragile Express, from Fragile a year ago at Lake Knot City. My father came up with the name Fragile Express before I was born. The US was Swiss cheese back then. All the void-outs left craters as far as the eye could see. People were losing their minds looking for a way out. They thought the government could have their back, but it was gone. All the systems, all the gears that kept the world turning, smashed to bits in a matter of seconds. When everything you know breaks, it's hard not to break yourself. Before the new network, there was an old one. The whole nation was online 24/7. Cameras and microphones everywhere, watching and listening and recording. There was a strange sort of comfort in that, people said. The certainty that someone somewhere would know you were in trouble. But after the Stranding, that all vanished into the ether. No one was looking out anymore. No one was coming to save you. A lot of folks died waiting for the rest before the rest caught on and took matters into their own hands. My father was one of the latter. He'd been working for a private logistics company. He had some friends figured they were in a position to bring people supplies and repair vital infrastructure Americans used to rely on to survive. They were builders, men and women who understood the value of what was lost and wanted to reclaim it. My father and them really believed that they could all get it back, bit by bit, and make us whole, make us America. It was a precious, fragile dream. So much back then. But if they nurtured it, if they stayed true, he knew it could all be ours again. People, ideas, connections, all so fragile. The US was nothing more than a network of people and the connections between them. No wonder it broke apart so easily. Not everything that's worth something is fragile. That's why I was given this name. My father's not with us anymore, but the bond between us remains, fragile though as it is. Why planes and drones can't fly. Igor 3 years ago at Central Knot City. Know what I wanted to be when I was a kid? An astronaut, believe it or not. Must be hard to imagine now, but back before the Stranding, the skies were full of drones. Airplanes, all kinds of crap zipping back and forth from continent to continent. Some that even went up into outer space. But the Cairo clouds that put an end to all that. Nothing flies now, nah. It all came crashing down. My dreams with it. Damn clouds mess with flight systems somehow, don't ask me how. Eat up comm signal too, which is how long distance signals can't get through anymore. That's why we got no idea what's happening in other countries. Set us back more than a century in that respect. People talk a lot about how the Strand set us scrambling for the cities, severed the bonds between us. But it did more than that. Severed the land from the sky. Prepper interview. The Timefall farmers. Give me a second. The Timefall farmer a year ago at the farm. Me, I used to be an ecologist. Emily thought highly of me and my wife's research into Timefall's effects on plant life. She was the one who suggested it could be used to boost agricultural production. See, Timefall's radically altered the ecosystem in the entire continent. Obvious, I know, it's just as obvious as we're powerless to stop it, so we've had the idea of trying to use it to our advantage instead. Make the environments better, not worse. Easier said than done, though. Take void-out craters, for example. Local chiral density is generally higher in their vicinity, which correlates with increased timefall. With all that exposure, you'd think they'd turn lush and green again. Before you know it, unfortunately. With all that exposure, you'd think they'd turn all lush and green again before you know it. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite pan out that way. Nothing grows in any of them. Might be the Timefall's done something to the soil, but the truth is, I don't have a clue. which was one of the reasons why me and the missus were conducting our research. Gotta say, for the record, if it hadn't crossed our minds that timefall could be used to help grow food, that idea was all homily, so credit where it's due. The junk dealer. 6 months ago in his personal shelter. Incredible, isn't it? The hourglass. See how the sand flows upwards? Got chiral particles in it. That's why it moves like that. And look at the shape of the glass. So elegant, so delicate. Just like the girl who made it. Hard to believe it's even of this world. It was made by human hands, alright. Crazy, isn't it? No wonder everyone in South Knot knows her work. You can imagine I felt when she gave it to me. I guess you could say it was a thank you present. She asked me to fix something for her, and this is what I got in return. You know, I'd done jobs for all kinds over the years, but none of my other customers ever did anything like this for me. Most will just toss you a couple likes, and that's the end of it. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with a like or two, it's just... this was different. The moment she gave me this hourglass, I knew I wanted to be with her. Never happened, though. Ain't cut out for love and relationships, don't have what it takes. Other people kind of scare me, to be honest. Still, even if we can't be together, at least I'll have this hourglass. Journal 5. The writing year's unknown, we don't know where, we don't know when. Ha and Ka. Body and soul to become separated. You die. In this world at least. This death ain't the end, though. As long as your soul's got a body to come back to, you can be reborn. Resuscitate, anyway. That's why people who built coffins and sarcophagi, to preserve the body, and the soul had a home to return to. I learned all this from an old book I found. The Wisdom of the Egyptians. Chock full of interesting tidbits about death and how to overcome it. Like the golden death masks of the pharaohs. One's decorated, using magical adornments as an indication of the wearer's prestige and power. Tell you what, if we've learned anything from the beach, it's that Egyptians had it all figured out. That's why I've decided to get myself a mask. Not a death mask, though, but one for living, for ruling. Today's the last day anyone sees my face. Don't need it anymore. Yeah, I think this is Higgs's old journal. Our Bridges Way station just got taken out by terrorists. He's a void out to do it. Dumped a corpse nearby, let it go necro. Dropping BTs right in people's laps. Howdy, Jess. Word is demons heard that Bridges was sending an expeditionary force out to facilitate the reconstruction of America or some such. Guess they couldn't take kindly to that. Okay, not Higgs. Terrorists, separatists, isolationists, all these folks claim America's coming for their freedom. That the old guard wants to put them in chains, make the individual subservient to the collective. They ask what it's all for in a post-Stranding world, when today's triumph is tomorrow's crater. They used to spout the same old lines, said America never did nothing for nobody. That's why we took to living in a shelter. Better down in the hole than out there under their thumb. Yeah, he was a real saint, my daddy. Tried to run a few times, but he'd just drag me back inside, kicking and screaming, where he'd put those heavy hands of his to work and remind me what had happened if I disrespected his authority. But that's love, ain't it? You want a spiritual journey in below freezing temperatures? Pog. His way of looking after an orphan child he raised on his own. He was only trying to protect me from the evils of the outside world. I owe him my life. And my powers, too. First time I ever sensed BT was when I helped him, moments before he went necro. Just like when I dumped that prepper's body. My daddy showed me that corpses are precious, powerful things. Much more than bombs. Harris saw it treat him with proper respect. I've had to team up with a bunch of porters who service the central part of the country. Had to be done. The writing was on the wall of my crew otherwise. And guess what? Leaders got dooms. Got a feeling we're gonna be good friends. Demons and terrorists have been getting more aggressive ever since the Bridges expedition set us out, as the BTs and mules weren't enough. Now we gotta keep our eyes peeled for these assholes when we're making runs. All the more reason we gotta come together, get organized. Me and my new partner, we've been talking about consolidating our operations so that we can cover the whole continent. If we do, I suppose that'd make us the UCA in some respects. Different structure and methods, but similar ideology. A deep and abiding belief in the importance of community. But the devil's in the details, ain't it? rules, structures. Can't just let people make decisions for themselves. And therein lies the risk. Can't have us representing the sins of the past to with another USA. And demons, well, they ain't about to think for themselves. At the end of the day, a community needs a strong leader. And the God's honest truth is I'm the only one cut out for it. Rumors I heard about my partner's powers don't do her justice. Knew she had dooms, but she's a whole nother level. I tell you, I never seen anything like it. Not only can she perceive BTs, but she can actually use the beach. Compared to hers, my powers are nothing. Parlor tricks, courtesy of a few corpses, but it don't matter. As long as I got her. Before we met, I was bound by the limitations of my abilities. I was a blind man, groping for shadows of a secret realm. But now because of her, I can actually go to the beach. The beach! With her by my side, I can reshape this world. Not into what it was with the old USA. Not like what Bridges wants. Something new. Something everlasting. Right here and now. A world where we're free to do whatever we goddamn please. Journal number 9. My partner's powers are extraordinary, sure. But deep down, I know the two of us don't have what it takes to bring true, everlasting freedom to people. Everything we've done, we continue to do. No matter how much it may seem to bring people together, it's still a far cry from the way it should be. Timefall, BTs, chiral clouds. All this and more serves to cut us from the rest of creation. And I have to say, I don't think that's ever going to change. Even people like me and my partner, we have our limits. And now I've met someone who has none. Someone who could save the world from its madness, make it whole again, put the shattered pieces together. In a sexual world. For the record, this is a contentious interview. Asterisk. Note that the thing people have problem with is the misunderstanding of the context of a word. The word trend will be used, but in a way something trends on a graph, not that something is trendy. Just want that to clear the air before I read this. From a counselor about 3 years ago at Bridges HQ. Records suggest that widespread aversion towards physical contact and intimacy was a phenomenon that had been observed even before the death stranding. One contemporary report, for example, explains the increasing popularity of the sexless lifestyle among young people. A growing percentage of the younger cohort were self-identifying as asexual, claiming to be incapable of feeling desire or attraction. Accordingly, such individuals were less likely to have children or engage in sexual activity. Should be noted, however, that many other unique sexual identities were being recognized during this period, such as demisexuals who are incapable of sexual attraction without an emotional connection, or panromantics who profess a attraction unrestricted by sex or gender, albeit one not necessarily sexual in nature. One theory posits that the stranding accelerated the proliferation of these sexualities, in a terrifying new world in which BTs roam and annihilation is an everyday occurrence. People have grown reticent to form emotional connections with others. Although there's been no measurable decrease in human fertility, the birth rate has nevertheless dropped dramatically. Increase in sexual harassment and assault have also seen a steep increase, which seems to suggest that sex could not be further from our minds, for better or for worse. I must preempt myself by admitting that I do not have any empirical data in which to support the following claim. That said, it is my contention, based on the aforementioned observations and others, that the vast majority of the population could be categorized as asexual. Flagged by for archival review, article advances a controversial thesis widely regarded as unsubstantiated and discriminatory. Prevailing theory is that increased self-identification in aforementioned sexualities is due to increased social awareness and acceptance. Historical records indicate individuals asserting identities falling inside cisgender heteronormativity face significant discrimination and persecution, leading to suppression and concealment as survival strategies. It is generally accepted that a variety of other factors contributed to the reduced sexual activity and birth rate pre- and post-stranding. Studies are ongoing. Anyways, Fragile's umbrella and suit from Fragile Express staffer 2 years ago at South Knot City. You think the thing Fragile carries is an umbrella? Well, I can see why you could jump to that conclusion, but with the shape and all, but you're wrong. If it's any consolation, I thought it was an umbrella too at first. It's actually some kind of navigational device that Fragile came up with herself. I won't pretend to understand the theory behind it, but I'm told it factors chiral density across beaches and plots coordinates for jumps. Fragile's got some kind of dooms that lets her move from beach to beach. The way she tells it, she kinda clears her mind and lets her powers do the rest. Maybe it's something similar to the spikes